Good?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Back to the discussion about UCSB. And today it's not economics, but we're going to talk about the technology management program. And we are all people who have taken the program, and we're graduating seniors. This is Vamsi right here. He's a computer engineering major. Yes. Yeah. And then this is Dom. He's an econ major just like me. So we're going to talk about our experience in TMP. But first of all, what is TMP? Dom, what's going on there?
Actually, I'll let Vamsi take over.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
Jeez, man. Okay. So TMP is the technology management program at UCSB. I like to think of it as like the closest thing to a business minor, in my opinion. Because it's not exactly a minor, it's a certificate program, and I think it's available for undergraduates and graduates possibly, but they also have a master's in technology management, but we don't. So as undergraduates, we can only do the certificate, and even if you're not doing the certificate, you can still take the TMP classes because I think they just help everyone in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time upperclassmen do it, so this would be I think a lot of people, they try to cram it in about like 1.5 years, but it's definitely doable in 2 years or 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I started out doing it in sophomore year. I did the 111 series winter quarter and then spring quarter. And then I did all the upper division classes junior year. So it might have been different for you guys, I think, right?
Yeah. I didn't get into TMP 111 until my spring quarter junior year, and then I'm finishing my other TMP 111 right now.
Yeah.
So all said and done, you can do it in about 3 or 4 quarters. It's really something you can push out, and I think it's a good addition to whatever you're studying.
Yeah.
Like Vamsi said, it is kind of like a business minor. Some people call it the mini-MBA. So it really matters what you want to do with it, but it's just a great addition.
Yeah. And if you're a senior and you really don't have any, like a lot of classes that you're taking, or you're finishing your major early, I think it's a really good certificate to pursue. Or if you just want to take some classes to kind of fill the gap in your schedule, I think it's really useful as well.
Yeah, it's something great to talk about, like, to potential employers, where you're talking about, I've taken classes outside of my major, and this is like what I did. So for example, in the class we took together, Dom, John Greathouse, and also the marketing class that I took here, we had to do side projects where you basically make a business. So the marketing class, you made a business, it's a pop-up stand, and you sell something for an hour. So you're not only learning how to market something, but you're also learning how to sell things, how to create a product, how to work with other people in, I guess, your certificate. It's really interesting. Like, you want to talk about our experience with the John Greathouse one?
Sure. So Ashton and I first met in a class called TMP 21, History, Past, Present, and Future of Entrepreneurship. And going into the class, I didn't really know what to expect or what the curriculum was going to look like. But John Greathouse is a local seasoned entrepreneur and a great professor at that. And every class you'd get assigned readings, so you'd read and learn about other entrepreneurs and how they made it and what they were doing. And the quarter-long project was a secret mystery project where you had to create a recyclable good and then go out and sell it. There were no time limits, no restrictions or anything. It really just depended upon what you and your group wanted to do. So it was a good way of getting to meet people. Ashton and I were 2 random guys that ended up just emailing our TA on Bud's person and ended up in the same group. And the idea that we decided to pursue were recycled cookies made out of beer grain. I think that project was crucial to my education here, and it really made me, decide what I want to do and what I want to pursue. I always had some thoughts and ideas about what I wanted to do, but having a project that made me kind of think outside the box and made me kind of run around and do absolutely everything just to get an A in this class made me realize a lot of strengths and weaknesses and what I really loved about it. I think that project was just something I was obsessed about for a really short period of time. And I did absolutely anything to make sure we did well. But I think that was also from just pure passion.
Yeah, I definitely felt passion for the project, because we didn't win like the presentation, and I felt incensed that I was so mad.
Yeah.
I was like, business seems like something I want to do. It's just fun.
Yeah. I think, that was the takeaway when we weren't up on stage, because instead of selling, I thought they were going to give presentations about, who did the best project rather than who sold the most amount of goods, because selling something is something that you can very much so forge, especially when everything's done on cash or Venmo nowadays. So seeing those kids up there and thinking, man, my idea was so much better than theirs, was really frustrating, but also very motivating, because, I knew that me caring about this project was something I'd never really cared about before, especially for a school project.
Okay. Yeah. Like as econ majors, I feel like if you're an econ major interested in business, at the very least, try a couple of TMP classes, because it'll really get you that hands-on business experience you don't get from the theory, the writing, and the graphs of the normal econ classes.
And just to give a bit of context, so that was TMP 21, right?
Yes,
What's the title of that class, if you guys mentioned that?
It's Past, Present, and Future of Entrepreneurship.
Okay. And I know that's not like, I'm not sure if that's required for the certificate, so I was going to ask you guys, do you recommend still taking it for people who are like interested but don't want to do the certificate?
I feel like it's a great intro to the certificate. If you're not sure and maybe you have an extra class you could take, then you should definitely do it. But even if you're in the major, still take it, because it's just great. I know it used to be required when you took it, right? It was like
I never took it.
Oh, you never took it?
I never took TMP 21. So that's why I was like...
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think it's something everyone should take, and it's like not a hard class by means of like you will definitely pass, and you'll probably get a B or an A as long as you show up and do all the readings.
I think it's more about effort than certain knowledge or takeaway. And that's why I liked it, because it actually kind of encouraged you to care about the classes. You knew you weren't focused on the grade, just doing there and learning and reading the assignments. It was like, I think a great crash course, It was a little bit of everything, and the way that the TMP 21 or TMP 34 classes differ from these certificate classes is they're kind of open to anyone, and realistically they are that filler to get people interested in the certificate, because how do you get someone to like TMP or know something about TMP if they've never taken a class in it?
A really good thing I liked about that class is that it made you think a lot about what you want to do with your life and what your strengths and weaknesses were. I know like John Greathouse had you fill out a questionnaire to your friends who would respond to tell you, oh, like, I think you'd be good at doing this, or I think your natural strengths are this. And that's something for people who don't necessarily know what's going on there, because we're all in a very pivotal moment in our lives, right? In college, we're all young adults out of high school, living away from home. So you've been told all these things to do. Oh, maybe you should follow this track and get a degree. But taking this class with John Greathouse really puts it in like a bigger frame, bigger picture, long term. Like we read the book The Alchemist, and it's talking about what you really want, you will achieve. And that's just like a great allegory for life. Like it's just amazing.
And I think that's the one question we're really trying to answer for ourselves coming to college is, what are we going to do with our life, and how are we going to get there? So I think Alchemist wasn't a book that you'd necessarily think about should be reading at a college level, but for a class that was looking to give you an intro into what's possible, really it was all about possibilities. Trying to teach people that, hey, this is within arm's reach. You can create ideas and make them real. And The Alchemist was just like a good addendum to it.
Yeah, Vamsi, you were talking about this Professor John Greathouse also changed your mindset on things.
So I know. So John teaches a few classes. I think he does TMP 34 with you guys. You're taking that now.
Which is sales.
Sales. TMP 21, was that the one you took?
Yes.
Okay, and I think the most important one we haven't touched up on too much is 111, which is the speaker series. So John actually calls speakers in to basically interview in front of us, and we sit there for like an hour, but it's honestly the quickest hour, just because you're getting really good information and really good advice from people who've been in the industry or that have been successful in some sort of way. So any of John's classes, honestly, like I feel like I would just recommend any of them. They're all just it's a good environment to be in. I feel like-minded people would love that one. And we can sort of talk about TMP 111 if you want, because I feel like that's where I really saw a lot of entrepreneurs that didn't really know what they wanted to do with their lives, sort of talk to us about what we should do or like what we should pursue.
Sure, yeah, and this is also a class that's available to anyone at UCSB as
Correct.
a 1-unit class.
It does fill up quick, but
Yeah.
it's worth it.
Yeah, it's like not a hard class by any means. You just have to show up and pay attention.
Yeah.
So I mean, when I did it, I had Annie Duke, who's a poker champion, come.
Yeah.
And then also the guy who created, I think it's Bash or something, some coding program. Brian Fox or something.
Yeah, Bash is on the MacBook.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, just a bunch of very memorable people. So it's cool. It's like a little like a talk show style. So I think a good comparison would be perhaps like Oprah Winfrey for business.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that in a very positive way. Yeah. I mean, what's your experience with it, Dom?
Yeah, I think they've kind of marketed it as the TMP Innovator Series, where they bring people that are either alums or have some connection to John or the program, and kind of talk about how they started out of college. You know, it definitely starts as like not what you're doing right now, but who were you at this day and age?
Yeah.
So, you know, for college students, it's a great class to take, because you kind of question yourself and you question others, and you might think to yourself, hey, you know what, like, where was this person when they were my age?
Yep.
And although, you know, this isn't about bringing the most popular celebrity in, you know, there are a lot of people that have contributed and
sat in on the class too.
Yeah, you know, made contributions to society, and they come in, they talk about what life was for them and how they're you know, following their pursuits and passions.
Yeah. Who are some of the, I think Ashton touched upon it, but who were some of the cool speakers that you liked?
I had Lars Nielsen.
Okay.
This quarter, Jenny Du of Appeal Sciences. We did a historical speaker as well, which I think is a new thing.
Okay.
And then Eve Nelson, who wrote the theme song to The Office.
Oh, no way.
Cool.
Yeah. And she did many other like very, very great things.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah, you might want to edit that out. Right?
Oh yeah, I'm
You're
sorry.
fine.
I'm sorry.
Family friendly.
Sure. But no, I think for me, what was it? We took 2 quarters of it. I really liked a couple that stand out to me. Stacy Peralta came when I took it.
Oh, that's
you guys,
sick.
That was awesome. Just to like, I mean, what was it? We used to play the video games, and we heard about him and Tony Hawk Underground and all that, and the fact that he actually came and spoke and kind of talked about how he started off and how he really pushed skateboarding to what it is now. It's just a huge inspiration, honestly, and he was just very, very cool guy. He's when you think of Santa Barbara, you probably think of someone like that. So that was very cool. That's the one that probably sticks with me, that I keep watching over and over. And if you guys want, the videos are online. All the speaker series that John, so the people that John interviews, they're on YouTube if you want to check them out. Yeah.
Okay, we can move on to TMP 120. So that's, I don't remember what the name is, but I know it's like an intro to business class.
It's like business strategy, right?
Business strategy.
Yeah, I think it's called TMP 120 Business Strategy. I took an intro to business class at a local college, and I think the first couple weeks of it were very much so intro to business, and then the last part of it was more like a capstone project, which is quite difficult to say the least.
Who'd you take it with?
Just an adjunct professor that's a local consultant. Not any recurring.
Okay.
Is that a community college or here?
No, here.
Oh, here. Okay.
Yeah, TMP 120.
120.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, we had the same one.
We had the same professor.
Karen Bogart. Professor Karen Bogart. Very nice. It's just there was just so much content in that class.
There was a
lot.
lot.
A little boggling. But what really gets you is something called the Capsim project.
It's a group project.
It's a group project, yeah, where you basically play a simulation of corporate strategy.
Yep, it's random.
Yeah.
The groups are random. You could get lucky. You could get a really just shit group, man. No, mine was good. I like that. Why is that? Keep that in. Keep that in.
Keep that in. Sure.
Right. But I mean, that's the reality. I saw some groups that were just like not good, and some people had to just carry their teams. Mine was pretty well balanced.
Well, it's interesting because we come up from a perspective of, oh, we're econ majors. Oh, he's an engineering major.
Yeah.
And suddenly we're thrust into a class where there's every single type of major, global studies, communication, and also people like us. But like you're working with people you probably haven't worked with before at UCSB.
Yeah.
So it's like a new perspective in terms of like business.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the one thing is definitely your background, your upbringing, and also the major that you kind of decide to partake in have inform a sort of perspective that you have on business. And TMP 120 was definitely like the beginning class the first TMP class that I took here. And I did have a variety of majors, and although it was about business strategy, that CAPSIM was the first group project that I did with other students of other studies, and I think it went great for us. But definitely, it makes you kind of flex your communication styles and figure out how groups work.
It's very real world-esque because you're kind of thrown into a situation where you have to communicate a lot, make decisions as collectively as a group. So I think it's very, in the end, it's very beneficial. You learn a lot as a group. Yeah,
and going off of that, it's like it doesn't matter how much you know individually if you can't convey it to the group in a very like logical manner and a very, I guess, essentially a rational manner as well. That's the same thing. Shoot. If you can't convey it to the group well, then they're not going to agree to it because everything you do has to be by consensus.
Yeah.
Next class is TMP 124.
Yeah, 124.
Okay, which is marketing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Taught every quarter by Guy Gabriel. Also local marketing legend, I guess. Took part in a couple special projects like the marketing of Gorilla Glue, among other things. But I really did enjoy that class. I felt like I came into that class knowing a lot more than I should have for taking a marketing class. But nonetheless, it was a class where you did partake in, again, a couple other group projects. I think the overall theme with TMP is that it's group-based. It's not an individual competition.
Yeah.
And again, like you said with the pop-up shop, or there's another project we did, which was like marketing candy bars, if you remember doing that one. I think those are the two that I remember, and then maybe doing like a corporate marketing strategy.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I think we had to do like a marketing plan for a business. That was, I think, so for our class, we had to do a business that was going through a pivotal moment. So people got assigned companies like the North Face or Red Bull or Skechers. And we had to devise a marketing strategy and how we would take that to market. So for our group, we did Skechers, and it was very interesting because it was very open in terms of what we were allowed to do with it. So we decided to go into esports.
Did you pick that group? You picked Skechers, or?
My friend picked me for his group.
Okay.
Yeah, and we chose esports, so we're going to use League of Legends to market Skechers. So here I was talking in front of a bunch of college students, telling them how great League of Legends were and how much popularity it had. It's funny. Yeah. And also the way he teaches the class is very what's the right word? It's very
disciplinary. Is that what you meant? No.
He interacts a lot. It's very
interactive.
It's very interactive.
Okay.
Yeah, he asks a lot of questions. I know on the first day he said that it's not me teaching the class, it's not you teaching the class, it's us teaching the class. So he'll just pace back and forth in front of the room and ask questions like, "Why do you think this?" "Oh, let me show you that. What do you think about this video that I just showed you?"
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Vamsi, though.
No, I was gonna say I never took that class, so I have no idea what it's even like. But I've heard that name, Gabriel, before. Should we talk about how there's a choice of electives? Because you guys took that one, I think. Or did you take that one? 120?
No, for us it wasn't a choice of electives.
Yeah. Gotcha.
You finished it before it became a very rigid structure.
So just to give context, I have the old requirements. So some of my classes I took are not required anymore or are not available anymore. I think the only one that's not available is 134 now. I think that's become TMP 34, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But I think 120 is still required, and I took 122, which is still available, but it's not required. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. How was that for you?
122 is, honestly, if you have the chance to take it, I 100% recommend it. It's taught by Trip Hawkins, who's just it's crazy that he's teaching this class. He's got so much experience. It's not even like funny. He's worked with like Steve Jobs before in the same office.
So what's he known for?
He started EA, Electronic Arts, if you guys know the video game company. I started that, and it just grew into a huge, I guess, empire. I think I forget when he left, but now he's kind of doing more, I think, philanthropic stuff. He's kind of helping other people out. But he had a hell of a ride, honestly, and just the information and just his like presence he had in class, I think, is just very worth it. I can sort of talk about the class too if people want to know about it.
Yeah.
It's very group based again. The first few weeks you learn about like life skills, how to talk to people, how to, just skills that you would use in real life. After that, you kind of get into groups, which you get to choose, and then you think of an idea or like an application, and then you have to market it, you have to sell it, and you have to develop like a plan to build that product within like 5-6 weeks. And at the very end of the class is like your final, where you pitch it in front of a bunch of people as like a Shark Tank type of thing, in front of a bunch of judges. So, and then you get like, a certain grade based off of that. But honestly, really cool. You get to pick your project, which is awesome. You get to meet people that are very like-minded because they want to work on the same type of thing that you do. And I know not many people took it recently because they stopped making it a requirement, but it's very upsetting to know that, because I think it's honestly one of my favorite classes I've taken at UCSB. Yeah.
Yeah, you talk about that guy a lot. You say
I talked about him a lot.
Guy.
He's just amazing. I love Trip. He's like John in a way. They kind of go hand in hand, and it's funny because I think John interviewed Trip. So if that video is still up, I highly recommend it.
Okay. You should probably link the general Innovator Series up there.
Yeah, it should be all below in the description.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, before we move on, I'm going to check this. Okay.
Check it out. Okay.
We're back.
It's his birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ashton.
22, right?
22, yeah.
Awesome.
16.
Yeah, 16. Yeah.
Anyway.
15, quinceanera.
Yeah, quinceanera. Okay. Where do you want to go?
Topic.
Yeah, back to topic.
We have 2 more classes to cover. So the next one is 127, which is marketing. And that one... Sorry, management.
Yeah, it's...
managing tech companies, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
TMP 127, known as managing tech organizations. Again, I do believe it's taught by adjunct professors, but they are highly qualified and they come from a variety of backgrounds. My professor was Zackerson.
Same here.
Okay.
And he comes from a hospitality restaurant management background, and then went and did his master's and PhD in communication, and is a part of a bunch of HR associations over here. So I know that taking it from someone who's had experience as, a bar and restaurant owner, and then also as a academic is quite interesting. He's able to intertwine both of that, and I think I definitely respect the perspectives that he comes from, because he's not one-sided. He's brought the class into a very well-rounded subject.
Yeah, when I'm in his classes, sometimes it's like being taught from someone who didn't plan to be a professor, but decided to do it to spread his knowledge. And it's cool because you get so much of the different side of the world, which you don't really see that much in like universities, just like the service based from hospitality restaurant owner. I think he always talks about his pub. He talks about that all the time. He references it when he lectures. Yeah. And it's just great to hear about, because when else are you going to hear about that in a university like environment? Yeah.
And again, the one thing universities kind of catch flack for is having professors that don't have any real world experience. So I think the one thing that really attracted me into TMP in the first place was being around people who I can possibly consider my mentors that do come from the kind of experiences that I wish to presume. Someone who has founded a tech company or has been involved in multiple things within their life is definitely something that interests me, because I think that although it is valid to come from academia, if you're teaching business or if you're instructing kids to go down this entrepreneurial route, you kind of have to walk the walk, talk the talk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. As for this class, you learn so many different sorts of management. It's like, it's almost too much to cover in a quarter. They go through
Theories like the organization,
styles,
alignment models,
and also negotiation styles.
Yeah.
And I think there's also like how to do a job interview, how to conduct a job interview.
Yeah,
I
think that was one of the last lectures I had was we went over how to interview, how to do a resume, cover letters, things like that, and also just how to network with people.
Yeah, nice.
Whether that's through management at a job or looking for a job, you know, I think it really comes down to how you can communicate with the other people around you. Can you tell them what you want, or are you just gonna, you know, bounce around and hope that they figure out what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Did you take that class, Vamsi?
I did not. I think we have very different classes here, so I kind of had to sit this one out. But yeah, my class, my requirements are very different. If you're watching this, you probably, you know, are gonna take the new requirements. What was it? 111, 120, the
124, 127.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the last class is 130F, and I just finished this class, and
I did too. Well, last quarter.
Yeah. It's so much material.
It's weird. It's a weird
crazy.
class.
Yeah, like
It's
the
weird.
professor was telling us, it's like 2 years of stuff you learn in business school crammed in 10 weeks. It's so fast. But like that being said, all this stuff is very relevant, especially if you want to go into corporate finance, maybe pursue a CPA or just someday be some sort of like CFO or something. But you learn about balance sheets, income statements, how stocks work, how bonds work, the valuation of bonds. And they also brought in guest speakers as well, which is something I always appreciate. They bring in people who do investment banking, so like Goldman Sachs sort of things.
Okay.
When companies go IPO, they help them out.
Okay.
He also brought in venture capitalists. So it's just like that type of thing you're not going to get in a normal classroom environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the one thing is keep in mind that this is research university. So this kind of hands-on curriculum, very technical stuff is something to appreciate when everything that you're taught is kind of based on theory or research. This isn't a research course. This isn't a research certificate. It's very much so hands-on and getting people prepped for the real world.
Yeah.
Vamsi, how was yours? Because you had a different teacher.
I had a different teacher. I guess it does depend on the teacher a bit. I think 130F in general is just kind of dry. I guess that's
pretty dry.
That's the tone I get from it.
Pretty darn dry.
Yeah. Not that it's hard or anything. I guess if you're an econ major, you'll be perfectly fine because that's stuff you probably went over before. Maybe
a bit.
Never mind.
More
Okay.
accounting.
More accounting.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And it even has stuff from like TMP 120, like a bit of review.
Yeah,
so I think it's the class you probably take last in your certificate. It's not the most fun, but you have to get through it. I think the other classes are much more group based. This one really wasn't for me.
I think we had one group project.
Okay, I had a partner project, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, it really depends on the professor. Mine was pretty good. It was just an okay class. I didn't love it, but I had to take it. So I know Ashton had a different experience with his professor, but if you want to touch on that or no?
Yeah, it's just like the material is good.
Yeah.
But the lectures were dry. It was dry, and sometimes when you get teachers who have that hands-on business experience doing accounting and finance, when they come to a classroom and they start lecturing, it's not exactly the most charismatic.
Yeah.
And that really comes through when he's explaining things and he's like, it's obvious, like it just explains itself. Or like he speaks a little softer. So it's like you get all sorts of different professors and you just kind of have to adapt.
Are you gonna say his name or no?
No.
It's okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Send me DMs or something.
Yeah. You probably would. Anyway.
And I do come from that econ and accounting background, so when I do take in the fall, hopefully I can kind of add in and say what it was like for me. Whether my classes covered that before I got into the class or not.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. I guess final question, which is the biggest one of all, is it worth it? Because you will be paying $1,100 for this extension course 130F, and also $150 to just be considered for the certificate.
Yeah.
So I guess we can
kind of go.
Oh, you want to start with Dom?
Yeah, we can go down the line.
Your thoughts?
Yeah.
Sure. when I looked at it at first, and I thought, man, I'm dropping all this money for this education. Here I have to drop another like $1,300-$1,400. I was thinking, well, you know what? Like, I'm already here. If I really appreciated this degree, and if they think that this class is worth money, if they're really after the money grab, I might as well do it while I'm here, because I won't have the chance to take it anyway.
That's true.
Afterwards. So I think if you are on the on the edge about spending money to take this class, I although I haven't taken it, I think that the program is worth it.
Yeah.
And it's worth more than the $1,300 you're going out of pocket for.
Yeah. Yeah. My experience overall, I'm an engineering major, so it was kind of a bit outside my comfort zone for sure. But taking 111, which is the Distinguished Speaker Series, I just really fell in love with the environment, I guess, of TMP, and the vibe I was getting. It was very welcoming. I was learning stuff I just wasn't learning within my major, because engineering in general, you're getting thrown a bunch of technical knowledge and you're just expected to swallow it, and and that's nice. But I feel like TMP, you're actually learning stuff that you're going to use in the real world, which is very important, if not more, than the technical stuff you're learning in class. So, and if you're worried about, how difficult it is, I guess, if you show up and you do what you need to, you'll be fine with respect to the grades. I wouldn't worry too much about that at all. I think the overall experience is, something you should look forward to. And even if you don't want to do the certificate, at least try it out. Try a class or two and see if you like it. Yeah,
going off that, it is the most value for anyone at UCSB to take at least some of the TMP classes in terms of like 24 and 34. I think those are like, they're golden. They're straight golden.
Yeah.
They're so nice.
I think that's one of the reasons why they're open to all majors is it's one of those classes that's meant to be eye-opening and to tell you, but wait, there's more.
Yeah,
it's about to tell you, it's not all about your major. Like, let's talk about some real world stuff.
Precisely. Yeah, you get wrapped up so much in your major and the career path that's only specific to your major, but it's like there's a whole crazy world out there. You could do anything like after college. Yeah. Don't just restrict yourself to what like you've been told growing up. Yeah. In terms of TMP and is it worth it? I would say looking back, yes. There have been a lot of lectures where I'm just like, oh my gosh, please let it be over. There's some long classes.
I think probably 130F for sure. Maybe 120 for
120
me.
120 for me, yeah.
I can understand 120,
yeah. But it's good content and it's like very applicable. Like this is not something that's very theory driven in terms of like what we would experience in economics, but it's something like, oh, there's a real case study with Tesla versus Ford. How is that going about? Okay. Yeah, and like comparing stock prices and seeing like how financially well they are. And I mean, the $1,100 for the one class 130F is rough. It's a tough pill to swallow, but I mean,
just imagine it's the cost for the whole certificate.
Sure, yeah. It's all long con thing. I'm looking back, like in 5-10 years, I'll be so happy I took these classes. Yeah. And if I do decide to pivot and go more into finance or just in business in general, I can talk to people during an interview and say, hey, by the way, besides economics and that being hard at UCSB, I also did this certificate, which had all these additional hands-on classes and skills I learned.
It always comes up in some way.
Yeah. So it's worth it.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Cool. Yeah. Any final thoughts on TMP? Any recommendations to people trying to see what's up with TMP?
Should we just like go over the classes that they could look forward to, I guess?
I think we all did.
We did? Never mind.
Favorite classes?
I like going over that stuff. But
no,
we did. Yeah, we did do that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed all the classes.
Yeah. And if you want to like, you can even reach out to the professors and just like see what they have to say. I'm sure, they're all going to recommend it, but sit in for a class or just try it out, see if you like it. I think for the most part people do.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, I'll put their Instagrams in the description below, or you can privately message me on YouTube or Instagram or in the comment section below.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this helped. Later.